With season 2.5 starting, the devs, they're making a lot of interesting changes. Most of the characters seem to be getting nerfed, but a few of the characters, they decided to buff. So I'm using Squirrel Girl. This was in season 2. This is before the buffs. And I'm basically just holding down the trigger. I'm just holding it down, and I'm eventually just gonna stay in a spot, and I'm gonna get hella kills. I mean, look at this. I'm going crazy. She's hella glitchy. So the question that I have to ask is, how could the devs see this and be like, you know what we need to do? We need to buff Squirrel Girl, because she's not really getting it done. Her character's not good enough. We gotta buff her. I mean, look at this cheese. Look at me. I'm going crazy. It makes perfect sense why so many people use Squirrel Girl, because this is easy work. And that's why I bully a lot of Squirrel Girls. If you look at my gameplays, I'm usually hunting them. I'm looking out for them. I'm trying to get them up out of there, because I know how annoying she can be if nobody focuses her. Because this is crazy. I'm gonna end this thing 35-4. I'm about to get a penta. Even Iron Fist is about to go down to the ground. Even he can't avoid this cheese. My goodness, I am just standing here. I have been holding down the trigger the entire time, going absolutely crazy. The only thing that's bad about her, she's not good against flyers. That's one weakness. And her ult kind of sucks. It really does. Her ult, it has a mind of its own. You throw it out there, sometimes it completely ignores enemies, and then sometimes it gets kills. When I had to get 3 kills with one use of her ult, that took me forever. And when I finally got it, I was so relieved, and I was like, okay, now I can use somebody else. Because I don't really like to use Squirrel Girl, but whenever I have used her, I put up some great numbers. Look, even Iron Fist can't get me up out of there. Just hit the jump. There's nothing wrong with Squirrel Girl. Why does she need to get buffed? I mean, look, I think this is one of the first games that I played with her, and I'm already beasting and feasting. And that's the funny thing about this game. From season to season, they're going to be making certain play styles more relevant. That's why it's good to know more than one character. And that's why I'm glad that I got all the achievements, because I've played on every character. And I know which characters I like, which characters I'm actually good with. But really, it's just important to know the counters of every character that you're going up against. If the other team comes out with this composition, I know I can switch to this role or this player that can counter them successfully. Like whenever I see people use Squirrel Girl and Moon Knight, and then they got an Emma out there, they got a bunch of players that cannot shoot enemies in the sky, then I go to Iron Man. I love to use Iron Man in those games, and then I go crazy until they make a switch. In some lobbies, they don't make switches. They just stay out there like that. That's fine by me. I'm beasting and feasting. I'm gonna get 52 kills in this game with Cloak and Dagger. And this was one of my early games too, where I was still learning how to play with Cloak and Dagger. That's how easy this character is. And you're gonna see that I use the Cape Escape with Cloak. I used it incorrectly in this gameplay. Now when I use her, I use it to get higher, right? Get to the high ground. Because I didn't even realize you could hold the button, the jump button, to elevate yourself. So I'm just using it like right here. You're gonna see, look, see, I need to go in the air as I'm using that, reposition, get to high ground, and then run away. But see, back then when I was using her, I wasn't that sophisticated yet. And that's what I like about Quick Match. I love to practice characters, and if I'm getting a lot of MVPs, if I start getting MVPs in Quick Match, then I know, okay, I can use this character when I go to competitive. That's my rule. Go into Quick Match. If I never get any MVPs, then I know, okay, I gotta just keep playing with them until I get better, or maybe I'm just never gonna be good with that character, and that character is just not for me, and that's okay. Now, what's funny about the buff to Squirrel Girl, they also buffed Hawkeye, and I've already shown a clip where I got like a penta, or maybe even a hex, I don't remember, but I went crazy with Hawkeye, and I don't even have good aim. So if they're gonna be boosting him, they're buffing him, and even I could do good without the aim, he's about to be a menace. He's about to get banned out here. But what's really crazy is that this game nerfed a lot of characters. Like you're seeing I'm going up against a Thor. That Thor is going crazy in our back line. Really just going after me. and Rocket. But Thor got messed up. He got destroyed. I wonder if they're going to revert it, because they basically took away a lot of his abilities, a lot of his survivability. It did not make him better at all, and he was already kind of iffy. There are good Thor players out there, but most people that use Thor, they weren't really going crazy like that. And so now with the changes they made, he's not going to be as dangerous. I wonder if Thor players are going to just pick somebody else. And that's what worries me, especially if you're buying skins, because most people, they don't play that many different characters. So say Thor was your character and then they made all these changes. Wouldn't you be furious? Like, what? Now I got to play with him with all these nerfs? Same thing with Jeff. Wow, they really changed Jeff. Jeff's DPS attack, his attack that would get you up out of there, it was fast. It was so fast, he would just continually just throw some kind of water or something at you, and it would do a lot of damage. So whenever you saw that coming at you, you had to focus target him immediately and try to get him up out of there, because if not, he's gonna get you up out of there. But now they slowed it down. They really slowed down the speed of that attack, and then they put a cooldown on it. So now you can't just spam it. If you see somebody by themselves out of position, you can't just target them over and over and get them up out of there. Not with that attack. And then when you go underground so you can escape, they also put a timer on that. So they really changed him. They do allow his regular attack to also do damage instead of just healing, the water that he's throwing out. But he really changed. He changed even more than Thor. So imagine that, because there's a lot of people that play Jeff and that's the only character they play. So with all of those changes, you know they're going to be furious. They're not going to like that. They're going to be annoyed by that. Just like Cap. Like, I like Captain America. He got nerfed twice. His health, his base health is going down to 575. But when you actually step out there on the battlefield, what is the number going to be? Because I remember it used to be 750, then it was 700. So now, what is it going to be? I'm not sure. Maybe it's going to be 650 or 675. Who knows? But that's a lot of health to be given up, because Cap, his attacks are not that strong. It takes a lot of attacks to get somebody up out of there, and you got to get very close to him to get him up out of there. So we'll just have to see. Now I use Cap mainly to switch when we need to capture a point, when I see that my team is not being aggressive. Maybe our tanks are not doing a good job, or they need a little bit of a boost. Maybe we only have one tank out there. Sometimes that happens. So I might switch mid-game to try to help get the win. And I do have a lot of gameplays like that. I got to show you some of those where I switch to Cap and then we go get that dub. So Cap is going down. They also nerfed Iron Fist, and I think that's okay, because Iron Fist, he is tough to deal with. I think it is okay to just calm him down a bit. I'm okay with that one. Another one that was kind of funny is Psylocke. Psylocke, even she got nerfed, because even I use Psylocke. She is a straight up assassin. I love that when you see a Moon Knight, he thinks he's chilling, he thinks he's doing his thing. You just go over there with invisibility, dash, get him up out of there. She is very fun to use, and she can get away. So let's say you engage a fight. You're trying to kill, you're trying to be an assassin. You start shooting, and then all of a sudden, this fight is not working out. You can just use a dash and then go invisible and get up out of there. Very easy. So she's kind of like Loki. I stay alive a lot more when I use Psylocke, because there's so many ways to get away from danger. But she's getting nerfed as well. Her invisibility, her stealth ability, it's going to go down from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. And then also one of her attacks, not her main attack, but her secondary, is going to be less damage. I think she'll still be pretty good, because even though her stealth is going to go from 3 seconds to 2 seconds, that should still be enough to get out of there, to flee, because you can dash and flee. It's just like Wanda, right? Wanda, they toned her ability to get away, because it used to be a lot longer before I started playing this game, and then now it's a lot quicker. So I think that's fine. I think Psylocke will still be pretty good. But just looking at, they basically took most of the dive characters and they made them worse. That's what they did. And it's funny, because I started to learn Loki because I was getting dived so much. And I was like, there has to be a way to avoid them. So Invisible Woman was working for me, but Loki was really, he took it to the next level. So I learned Loki, and then now they're nerfing all of these dive characters. So you don't really need to be able to, you don't need to do that anymore. But hey, I'm not mad because I got better for it. I learned another character. But I just think it's funny the changes they're making. The players they decided to buff versus who they're nerfing, to me, doesn't make any sense. Like Squirrel Girl, she's a problem. She's so easy to use. I don't know why she needed to get buffed. And another thing I noticed, PlayStation gave out a lot of skins. I just realized this. I have a Squirrel Girl skin. They gave an entire bundle for free. I forgot what it's called, but I didn't have it equipped in that first clip because I didn't realize I had it. I just downloaded everything the game had when I first downloaded it, even though I didn't play it back then. They also gave out a Penny skin. So I have this Penny skin, a Venom skin. That's another PlayStation freebie. They also gave out a Spider-Man skin on PlayStation 5, where his head is black, but his body, it's a red suit. So that's another skin that I got. So they're doing, it's like every month or so, you kind of need to check the store because they might have another one of those bundles they're giving out for free. And you see, I get one of the trophies, one of the achievements for Cloak and Dagger to wipe the entire team. Give that guy a map. Merch is now available at chrissmooth.com, shipping worldwide. My songs, He Quit the Game, Lob City, and My Camo are now available on all streaming platforms. But look what I'm gonna do to that. I'm gonna block that dunk. Get that cheese out of here. When I did that, I said, all right, Cat might be the character for me. What rhymes with cash? I just put Doctor Strange to the floor.